And as we said earlier, our girl reporter Miranda Ward accompanied the Beatles on their magical mystery tour. And as a special scoop for Seen and Heard, Miranda speaks with George Harrison now about the magic tour and Beatles film plans.
Who had the original idea for the magical mystery tour?
I think Paul had the idea and wrote a song called Magical Mystery Tour. And at that time, I don't think it was definite that we'd use it for a TV show, but the idea was still there, so we recorded the song. We recorded it shortly after Sgt. Pepper, and so then we decided that it would be called the Magical Mystery Tour, the TV show, and so we decided to do it now so that we have it ready by November or December. We want everybody to be able to freak out, as it were. But we don't have frightened, you know, some people get a bit frightened when, like, Day in the Life of that record, when the music suddenly goes strange and they don't know what it is. And the natural thing when people don't know about something, they tend to fear it. So we don't want them to be puzzled by what's going on. So this way we can do, you know, it can freak out a little bit. But it's the excuse is that it's a magical mystery tour. We don't have to say everything, otherwise then there's no point in people watching it. And then we may change it as we go along. And if we change it and people are expecting one thing, then they may get a bit uptight, as they say. This part that we've been doing is mainly just to tie the whole show together. Because it's called the Magical Mystery Tour, then this is just a typical coach tour. That anything can happen. You see, that's the difference, because it's magic, then we can do anything. So these parts, these sequences, we just had a few ideas. It's mainly just to show the people getting on the coach and a few little things that happened during the course of the coach trip.
How does it feel to be out on the road again as the Beatles?
Yes, I don't know. I've never really known what it's been like as the Beatles, because you see that the Beatles is still something abstract as far as I'm concerned. You know, it's something that other people see us as the Beatles, and I try to see us as the Beatles, but I can't.
At the beginning, didn't you feel like a Beatle?
I suppose I did, yeah. In fact, I do sometimes. You see, when it's in the midst of all this and people are saying Beatles this, Beatles that, then, you know, I've got to accept the thing that they think I'm a Beatle. I'm willing to go along with it, you know, if they want me to be a Beatle, then I'll be one.
Are there any plans at the moment for a full-length film? What is the position now?
The contract we signed with United Artists was for 3 films, 2 of which we've done. The third one. Thing is, we can do it any time we want. We haven't so far done the film because we didn't want to make a film just to make some money. We wanted to do a film that sort of might mean something to either us or to the people who will go to watch it. So the thing is, over the last year or 2 since Help, I've had thousands of ideas, but they've all been Help and Hard Day's Night revisited. It's no good. We've got to have something good. And how we visualize the film, it's got to be at least the difference between Help, the song Help, and Sgt. Pepper, as the movie's got to be that progressed too. So we haven't made it until we feel it's right, and I think we should start it round about next February. And if we do, we'll probably end up by not having a big production team, film it all.
Rather like you're doing this one?
Like, yeah, more this idea where we'll help to direct the thing and probably to edit it. So the more people involved, the less of our movie it tends to be.
When did you first start becoming interested in Indian culture and religion?
Probably about 2 years ago. And I don't really know exactly when, but when I first noticed that I was interested in this, with the music first of all, I think, and along with that, I'd heard stories of people in caves, yogis, as they're known, people levitating and dematerializing and doing all sorts of wondrous things. And then through the music, with meeting Ravi, it was great because he's a Brahmin, which is a sort of high sect, and just all the groovy people are Brahmins, like the scientists and religious people and musicians and all those. And then in the end, I'd like to become this myself. I'd just like to have this quality that these people have, which is a spiritual thing. And I think with us having all the material wealth that we need, then, the average person feels that if they had a car and a telly and a house, and that's where it's at. But if you get a car and a telly and a house, and even, a lot of money, life's still empty, because it's still all on this gross level. And what we need isn't material, it's spiritual. We need sort of some other form of peace and happiness. And so that's why the Indian people, they all seem very peaceful and as though they have found something, because they haven't had the material wealth. They've had to look at themselves for some answer, and they found it inside themselves.
George Harrison talking with Miranda Ward.
The voice of George Harrison, who you remember spoke last week with our reporter Miranda Ward about the Beatles' future plans and their studies with the Maharishi. This week, Miranda asked George to explain transcendental meditation to us more fully, and he had this to say.
Christ said, "Seek the kingdom of heaven that lies within." Well, you see, it's an understood thing in various religions. There's something that's latent within everybody. And it's known as the kingdom of heaven to Christians, and it's known as various things to various religions. You see, in the religion as we know it in the West, they tell you about God, and they tell you to believe in this and to believe in that. But they don't actually tell you a way of experiencing this thing called God. So transcendental meditation is a method which has been very ancient, since sort of 5,000 years ago, probably. And in the East, you see, they've had these scientific methods for God realization or full self-realization. And transcendental meditation is one of these methods. So transcendental meditation, you transcend from these states to another state of pure being. It's to put all your energy, instead of it being outward in action and words and things like that, you sit quietly and concentrate the energy back inside yourself. And by experiencing more subtle levels of thought, until your thought becomes so subtle that suddenly there's no more thought. And when you've transcended down where there's no thought, then this is such a great state of pure consciousness. There's nothing there to spoil it. And there's no time or space or anything down there. And see, to talk about it in these terms, it sounds very involved and complex, but in actual fact it's very simple, because you don't have to know anything about it. You don't have to have any religion. You can be an atheist. All you have to have is the need for more happiness and more energy, and I think everybody needs that and would like to be happier. And this is the method.
Do you believe in reincarnation?
Very, very much. It's a silly thing for anybody to think that they come from nowhere, suddenly they're born into this universe, and they live a lifespan of however long they're fortunate to live, or unfortunate enough to live, and then they die and go into oblivion or into nothingness. But if you just think that to go into nothing must be something. And I really believe in this, it's in the Eastern religion. And anyway, Jesus Christ, again, for all the Christians listening, Jesus Christ taught about reincarnation and a law that's called karma, which is the law of action and reaction, which means that whatever action you do, you get back the reaction. Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. And Jesus taught that, and he taught that there was reincarnation, but some fool, about 551 AD to be precise, decided they couldn't believe in it anymore, and they're supposed to be Christians, and they just throw away just a few of his teachings like that. So you can imagine over the last 2,000 years just how screwed up these people who are teaching Christianity are. You know, Jesus also said a man makes himself what he wants to be. So all those people who think, oh, it's all right for you, I mean, but I'm Lombardy doing this down the salt mines or whatever they're doing. Well, it's really, you know, they've made themselves into that. like I've made myself into a Beatle or into whatever I'm supposed to be. But I did it, and they did it for themselves. So everybody can get out of the mess they're in.
You're going to start in London, I believe, at some sort of academy.
Yes.
Can you explain it a bit more?
Well, at the moment we haven't any more plans other than this is what we're going to do sometime in the future. Because really, this thing, we believe in it, and all the papers, they think it's a passive fad. It's another thing like flower power and all that rubbish. But in actual fact, this is something that, we're going to be doing this for the rest of our lives, and I'm still going to be believing in it when I'm 90, if I live that long. And so time will just show all these cynics and the press and all those type of people that it's not just another fashion. And the thing is, because this really is an answer for people's problems, and particularly the way Maharishi's teachings, he's got it so simple so that anybody can do it. So it's a great opportunity to spread this thing so that people can experience it for themselves.
You put flower power down as rubbish.
Well,
comparatively.
I only mean inverted commas flower power, like inverted commas hippie. It's all once the people, the press, write about something, let's face it, they write about something that's popular because it's a way of filling up space in the paper and selling a few more copies. And the emphasis with newspapers does lie with how many more copies than the other newspaper we can sell, rather than how much truth can we put in the paper. So when I said flower power, I mean, it's a joke, really. I still believe in these people who want peace and love and flowers and all that, and it's great. But the way the press have written about it, and really they coin the phrase and they make it into inverted commas flower power, then it's a bad thing. So just time again will show, all these old fossils, who's right. But it's good because this sort of thing with our generation that's happening, it's going to change, whether the old people or the police or whoever it is, whoever the people are who don't like it, well, it's going to change anyway, even if it's just a matter of us sitting around till they all die. It's going to change, and it's changing for the better. And if they could just realise that we're trying to do it not just for ourselves, but just generally for the whole of society, just to make it a happier place and a better place to live in. And then they realise that whatever they're doing with their silly laws and things, that they're only cutting their own throats. Because they'll all die and they'll all come back again, and they'll die and they'll come back again. Because that's what it is.
What do the Beatles do in their spare time when they're not writing songs or running their vast business empire? That's what our reporter Miranda Ward asked Ringo Starr.
Jolly good. Maybe sitting in the garden if it's a nice day. Just doing anything, I don't know, putting records on, watching the telly.
Have you been to the cinema at all recently? Do you ever go or not?
Not recently, no. Oh, yes, I have. Oh, John and I went one afternoon in the local. But, it was full of kids, but it was great because we just went in and nobody noticed us. And it was two terrible films, so we went late in the afternoon and saw half of the first feature. Wasn't much, and then the first half of the second feature. And they were both useless, so we came out.
What were they?
Well, I'm not telling you.
Fair enough. Have you been doing any writing on the quiet?
No, not even in the loud.
Are you thinking of writing at all?
No.
What do you spend your time doing? Because you used to go to the clubs a lot. But...
Yes, well, I don't go to the clubs now. I don't know, you just find you're doing things, playing games at home.
Have you got any sort of indoor football games or...?
I've got a billiard table.
Do you play a lot? Who plays with you?
Whoever's around, John comes around, George comes around, anybody comes around. Because it's handy. And we just all have a game and it sort of covers the first hour or one of the hours.
How much direction have you been doing in this film that you're doing at the moment?
Practically none. In fact, none.
Have there ever been moments when you've wanted to step in and say...
Not really, no.
Just been content to sit back and let the others...
Direct, yeah.